Hi, and welcome to Learn with Sawgrass. I'm Rhonda, the Education Manager here at Sawgrass. One moment for me. All right, perfect. So I'm Rhonda, the Education Manager here at Sawgrass. Wanted to see what my computer was telling me really quick. And so we are here with your Learn with Sawgrass. It is the Tuesday edition. So we're live with you every Tuesday at 3 p.m. and every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. live right here on YouTube. Now, you can join us live or you can join us later by watching the recording. We're glad to have you either way. So Rhodes is behind the camera today, and he will be answering any questions or responding to any comments you may have in the chat. We do have a rather fun one, but before we get there, let me explain where I am. So you notice my set's a little different this week. My normal studio is set up for Christmas because we're doing some Christmas work in there, and it felt weird to do fall and Christmas, so we kind of separated out and we're in a different area. So as you can tell behind me, this is one of our VersiFlex displays. So when people do get to come into the building, when I do sessions with dealers, we'll often do them from this room just so they can see some of the great projects you can do with VersiFlex. And today, you're going to get to see an extra special VersiFlex project. So as I was telling my coworkers just a little bit ago, we spend a lot of time talking about combining crafting technologies. So we either talk about using sublimation with vinyl, with heat transfer vinyl, or we talk about using VersiFlex with laser cutters with the wood, but we often don't talk about the other end of this, and this is traditional crafting with VersiFlex added in. So we are going to make a great wreath today. I do have just a rather large grapevine wreath that we're going to be using and we're going to decorate. I usually don't get to show you a preview of what we're going to be making, but I've already started just to kind of get those pieces and parts. So you see, I already have all of my flowers, bought a couple of just floral displays from Michael's that I've cut up and I have there. I also have my wire cutters so that I can cut some more off when we need to. One of the things that we're going to do on this is going to be a ribbon. This is a cotton linen that we're going to be doing today, and I'm going to show you how I made that. And I'm actually going to do it because this was supposed to be the tail part of the bow, so it's technically upside down anyway. So we're going a little bit further.
I'm just going to zoom in.
Zoom in, okay. Yeah. So there's that cute little, and then we have, I found these on Amazon, these really cute wooden leaves. So it was really funny because I was looking for high quality wood and I saw maple, so I immediately assumed it was maple. They're maple leaves, but it's still a really good wood and it is really thick, so works really, really well for this. So we're going to be making some more of these. I'm going to show you how I did it, but here are some of those wood pieces. Went ahead and got a few out of the way just to make this easier. So we are all set and ready to go. Before I forget, let me tell you what else is coming up this week. So tomorrow we have a fall decor workshop that we're going to do tomorrow morning. So I have some great things that I've gotten into that we're going to decorate tomorrow to do some fall decor for your home. And then later on this week, we actually have Karina from Crafty Carrie who did the podcast with me this week. So we'll get that released on Friday. I'm really excited about some of the points she makes about VersiFlex. So before I dive in and get too far, let's talk about VersiFlex, just for anyone who may not know much about it. So VersiFlex is an ink that we have here at Sawgrass for our SG1000 and our SG500 printers. You are all probably familiar, very familiar with sublimation. Sublimation is that chemical process where ink becomes a gas when it is heated. Now, the important other component of this is that anything that you sublimate onto is poly-coated. So either it has a poly coating on the product or it is polyester when we talk about fabric. Poly, when heated, the pores open up, that gas becomes trapped in it. Now it's a part of the coating forever. One of the limits, of course, is it has to have that poly coating, and fabric is poly-based fabrics. So the beauty of VersiFlex is that with the VersiFlex ink system in an SG500 or an SG1000, you can still do all of your traditional sublimation. But by switching out the paper, now you can press onto fabrics like cotton, blends, lots of other fabrics too, linen, chenilles, all of those fun things. And then now you don't need that coating. As long as it is porous and it will bond with the ink like this would, you can actually go onto this, and it's not poly-coated, it's just wood that I bought off of Amazon. So like I was saying, when we talk about other technologies mixing with VersiFlex, that's one of probably our favorite, is being able to cut your own wood with the laser and then be able to press onto it. So really great product. I'm really excited about it. And let's go ahead and dive right in. So I am gonna start with the ribbon. Just to let you know, like I said, this is a cotton ribbon. Really love the frayed look. Now, not the best for bow making, of course, because it does not have wire in it, but I think I figured out a way to make it work and make it really, really cute. So this is roughly, I think I measured it at a little over an inch. I'm keeping my pumpkins at about a 3/4 of an inch, just so I have some wiggle room, and it's gonna make it easier to center that on there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. So I am gonna use my Sawgrass. Remember, you do not have to use the design tool to use our printers. We do have the Sawgrass print utility that you will be using for sure, but you can send to that from other programs as well. One of the projects that I hope to do tomorrow, I actually have a piece that I designed in Adobe Illustrator. I may just go straight from my PNG from Illustrator to do that one, just to make my life a little easier. So you can upload all those file types. You can use the Send to Sawgrass print utility to send right from those programs as well. But today, I'm going to use some of our artwork in the design tool. So I am going to open up a custom canvas. I'm going to do this, like I said, I'm going to do it about an inch wide because I know that's where I need to fit. And then I'm actually going to do this 10.5. So I want this to pretty much fill a piece of paper. So I'm going to hit start designing. And we're going to jump in. Now, in our elements, we do have some graphic elements. We do, of course, have our full designs already made and ready to go. This is one that works really well with just using that element and stretching that out. So we're going to go ahead. I know it's in autumn. Autumn is, we've just added some really cool features here. We've had some really cool designs and elements to Halloween as well, so make sure and check those out. And I know this is really, really far down my list, so I'm going to just keep scrolling as I chat. Rose, have we had any comments or any questions yet?
No, we are caught up in the chat.
Awesome. Okay.
Maddie, Lori, Miriam, and Angela all say hello.
Well, hello to all of you as well. All right, so I really, really love this pumpkin. And so I did earlier, you know, I often will just click into my color panel. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see what I'm doing. Let's start by going ahead and making this a little bit smaller. All right. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and make that the size I want it to be, and then I'm going to click on the color. Now you know that I am famous. I will get into the general color range that I want, and then I will pick whether, you know, whether I want a little bit lighter or a little bit darker. But this is actually one where I went looking specifically for a dark orange, just Google searched hex code for dark orange, and then I actually went a little darker than what they have listed. They This is a really cool website. It has shades and variants, so I was able to find one that really matched what I wanted. Go ahead and paste that in. And then what I've done is I'm going to kind of rotate these. So because this is going to be a bow, I know these are going to get moved around a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a few here. Get those where I want them. All right. Don't want them to be too similar. Don't want it to be too strict of a pattern. So I'm going to move these around a little more. I'm going to lasso them all and highlight them now that I have a good little set. Zoom out a little bit more on this. Lasso them again. We're just going to duplicate that. All right, get those up there. Zoom out a little bit more so you can see the whole thing. Yep, do the same thing. Duplicate one more time. Drop this down. I'm probably going to play with them just a little bit more to make sure they're exactly where I want them to be. Yeah, perfect. This guy can go. Move this one up. Fill that gap. Spread them out a little bit. Same thing up here. We'll spread this out a little bit. This is really your ribbon. You're making it so it can be however you want it to be. There you go. Move him up. I'm going to zoom in one time just to make sure that nothing's, well, I can tell nothing's too close to the edge. All right, ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and hit print. Now, one thing I did do ahead today was I went ahead and cut my ribbon. So I kind of played with it, felt it out to see, like I said, this was the piece I cut a little bit longer for the tail. It was just when I did my test, I did do it upside down. So we went ahead and I measured my ribbon to what I know I need to make my loops. So we went ahead and did that piece. We're going to send this over to the Sawgrass print utility. All right. And that's going to open up. Okay, perfect. And that fits perfectly on there. Now, one thing that I could do in this scenario is because I know I am going to need more than one piece of this, I could go ahead and, you know, nest these, put a few copies of the same thing on here. I'm going to spread these out a little bit. Yep. And if I need to cut down or do anything, I can do that. But that's going to get me a little bit further. So I like that. I'm going to spread them out even a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. All right. So we have our pumpkins. We're ready to go. I'm going to make sure that my printer is the correct one, and it is. That's all I really need to do at the top. This is going to be pretty easy because it knows it's VersiFlex. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, hold on, let me make sure this is on the right printer. Yep. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to cotton. It's leather, it's high quality. I'm going to leave my light colors on here. I don't know if that orange would be okay without it or not, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it just to make sure that enough of that expander gets laid down. And we are set and ready to go. So I'll go ahead and hit print. And that's going to come out of my printer. Now we know that it needs to go on wet, but you do have some wiggle room. So I should be able to print all of these on one page, get them printed, get them pressed, and not have to worry about it. You do have about 10 to 15 minutes before you have to worry about it being dry. My only concern now that I think about it is me cutting in between and not touching anything. So let's see how good I am at that part of it. But hey, it's all a learning experience for us. And that is coming out of the printer.
While we're waiting, Lori had a good comment here. Creating your own ribbon patterns is a great way to save on cost. You typically pay more for patterned ribbon than you pay for plain ribbon.
Right, and especially in this situation, I got this ribbon in bulk. So I actually have 3 rolls of it. I could do different patterns to use for things. So yeah, very good point, Lori. And it's also custom to you. So if there is a shape or something that's really tied to your area or a phrase, you know, that's something that you can make that you wouldn't normally be able to buy. So being able to do your own ribbon like this is a really good idea. Now, one of the things that I do hear people talk about with the VersiFlex is the fact that it does have to go on wet. You see I'm able to cut this. I'm able to do this with no issue. So I'm just making sure that I'm kind of dropping it, but I'm not smearing the ink at all. Everything's good, and I'm ready to go. All right. Normally with fabric, we are going to pre-press. I'm not going to worry about that too much on this. So I'm going to go ahead and go down the ribbon this way first. And you know it's ribbon, it's going to go on a wreath, it's going to get folded, things are going to happen. So I'm not too worried about it being perfect. And this is 375 for 30 seconds. You did notice that I have pretty high pressure set on this. One thing that I'm not going to do right now, but that you could do, is a finishing press. That's going to be about 10 seconds. It helps to smooth it out, give it a little bit better finish, increases the washability too. I'm not as worried about that on this because this ribbon will get pressed a few different times. But those are some things you can do to really help with that fabric. Look at that, perfect. Right. Go ahead and get all this ribbon done. And luckily it is only 30 seconds in the press, so it goes pretty fast, thankfully. Yeah, and you know, this kind of like joint, doing the multiple technologies, wreaths, we were talking about this earlier, even the supplies for making your own wreaths get to be expensive. So being able to make it personal is such a great thing. If you are looking for something new to sell, well, all the gentlemen in the building say this is a great idea. All right. Let's see how perfectly I can line this up. I actually could be really smart do this actually. Now this is going to be a little harder to peel, so I know I'm making myself a little bit of more trouble by doing it this way, but I'm going to do it perfect. So I'll do 2 that way and 2 this way. Could probably squeeze one more in there. I don't know which direction he needs to go, so we're just going to put him that way. All right, now I am going to make sure that this is fully covered, anything that's on the press. This could definitely be something where I run into a situation where it would get onto the press, even though it's already been pressed. Then you may get some residual ink, so you're going to be very careful with that. I'm going to peel very fast because it is a hot peel. Luckily, this fabric doesn't have a lot of stretch to it, so it's a pretty easy one to peel off of. Okay. And like I said, I think I said, this is the tail of my bow. Look at that. Perfect. And that's going to be the tail of my bow. So that's set and ready to go. I'm going to clean up a little bit. Rhodes, do we have any questions?
No questions, but just provide a reminder to people, how long do you have after printing a VersiFlex project?
Yeah, you usually have about 10 to 12 minutes. You notice I'm probably pushing that. We'll see how well this does. But you know, that's one of the things I like to do, is I like to show you just how long you have with that. So you do usually have about 10 to 12 minutes before that starts to dry out. Again, my ribbon, not very expensive, that I bought. So if I were to get one and it messed up, I know that's what it is. It started to dry out, that expander's not laying down. So I, at that point, would just print some more. But I do like to push the limit just so you can kind of see. Okay. Nope, still transferring just perfectly. This is actually, I didn't measure it. I think I measured it off of a foot, off of just a ruler. So this is working great. At that 11 inches. Because I'm going to have some overlap in those middle sections. All right. We'll go ahead and get this done, and then that used all of them, so I do have 2 more. I'll print 2 more on a sheet to do really quickly, and then all my ribbon pieces will be done for us to assemble that ribbon. I love the way this peels off. All right, that's it. We're going to do 2 more really fast, and we'll be ready to go. All right. Take this down to 2 because that's all I need. Put them a little bit further apart. so I'm a little nicer to myself. And we're ready. All my settings, of course, stay the same because I'd already done those. All right. Any other questions, comments, anything, Rhodes?
No, we're caught up right now.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves before I start assembling the wreath. That's where we'll end today, is the assembly. So right now I've got all my ribbon pieces. We'll finish these other two and then we'll jump back into those wreaths. All right. And so again, you notice that whole thing about the paper being wet. It's easy. You just kind of have to think about it. I did stick my finger in one pumpkin earlier, I noticed, just because I was grabbing from the what's comfortable as a left-handed person from the right side of the paper. So I'm not doing that anymore, but otherwise that worked fine. Okay. Yeah, and so I'm doing this this fall, but you can go ahead and start thinking about all those cool projects you can do for Christmas with this technique. Can you imagine if everyone's gifts had their own ribbon on them? That would be so much fun. And the other thing I like to point out is that the paper does, or the ink does, kind of glue itself or stick itself immediately to the fabric or to the wood. So you're going to notice with the wood, I'm going to do it upside down and flip it over. You don't really have to worry about it getting just smudged or easily moving. It takes a little bit of effort, or literally sticking your finger in the ink, for it to be a problem. There you go. One more. Okay, get that one done, and we are ready to move on. I'm going to grab my wood leaves for this next portion.
Lori and Miriam said that their long fingernails always find the wet ink.
You know, it's my, I'm kind of glad I keep my fingernails short. And a lot of it is layout too. Like I said, it was a little close to the edge there actually, and so that could have caused a problem. All right, all my ribbons ready to go. So let's talk about our leaves. Let me throw this away. And I'm actually going to go ahead and set the press so I don't forget it later. One thing that I have learned recently with wood is that it is that low medium pressure. If you ever get something where it just seems like it sticks a little. Most like it feels like the expander is still on there. It feels shiny or shiny in spots. That's often an indication that your pressure is not high enough. So anytime I've increased that pressure, I have fixed that issue. Actually, Rod, you want to zoom in? This is one of those. This was actually my first one I made earlier. And you can see there are sections that are a little bit shinier. This is fine for my wreath. No one's going to care. It's going to work fine. But that caused me on the next one to increase the pressure. So just something to keep in mind. And one of those things that I've learned as I've done a lot of wood projects lately. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and check this. I think I did this as 5 by 5. So 4.75-ish by 4.75-ish. So just to give myself a little wiggle room, I'm going to go 5 on this one. So here's what I really love to do with this particular artwork. Because this is a custom canvas, because I'm not saving this, I'm just going to go ahead and clear all. And then I am just going to resize this. And you're going to see I'm just going to do this each time just to kind of speed things up. I'm going to go into my elements and I'm going to go into my backgrounds. If you've never played with them before, we do have the background patterns, which come in really handy. Now, you know me, how much I love the filter function. So I'm going to go down to seasons. And then I'm going to go to fall or autumn. And I'm going to look at some of these patterns. Now, it's really cool because honestly, I can use any of these. I'm going to stay away probably from the jack-o'-lanterns because I want this more of a fall theme. But let's start with these acorns. So you will notice that you can change the size of the pattern. I find this to be a little small. I like to do it a little bit bigger. So I tend to stretch it pretty far out as far as the size. And then that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to hit print. Now, if you see any of those background patterns, those shapes, those designs, those elements that do have that diamond icon, that does mean they are part of the subscription. So you do have to have the $12.95 monthly subscription to use those. But they're such great artwork, and it's such an easy way to purchase a lot of artwork at once to use for your sublimation or VersiFlex projects. Now, you of course could do other things with these leaves. I'm going to show you before we get done today some wood rounds that you could write like the letters on them to spell out something. You could do the same thing with the leaves. You could put them across a specific area instead of spreading them out and do like a word or whatever. I like them like this with just the random patterns on them. I think it makes them very special. All right, so we are going to choose our uncoated wood. Everything else is set. I'm just going to hit print. We're probably going to do one of each size for now. We could do more than one of different patterns on different, just to make, spread this out and get them all done. But I do want to assemble a little bit today. So we'll get 6 of these, but you could do like I'm doing this pattern now. I could change the size of this pattern to smaller to fit on one of the other leaf types. I'll actually do that so you can see what that looks like. I'm going to cut off a lot of this extra. I do want to make sure I have a nice large piece to grab onto. So we are leaving a nice tail on one side. Like I said, I tend to drop it and then flip it over. This is a really good one because the wood is so thick that I'm not having to worry about getting the pattern on anything below. It doesn't touch, so it works really well. Go ahead and grab my glove because I'm going to need it. Again, with the wood, it is 375 at 30 seconds. Wood is going to be, like I said, a low medium pressure. If you are having those issues, whether it's sticking or whether the expander just seems to still be on there and shiny in spots, you do want to increase your pressure slightly. Of course, our fabric is going to be a very high pressure. This is still that hot peel, so let's get that off of here. There we go. This is the easiest peel I have had on wood. I have been so excited about this today. All right, Rhodes, which camera?
Camera 1.
Making Rhodes move around a little bit, but look how great that looks. All right. Did you get it? Okay, go. Okay, so here's what I promised you, and I was kind of mumbling, so hopefully it made sense. I'm going to take another one of these leaves, and this particular pack is awesome. It has 3 different types of maple leaves in it.
I'm sorry, will you show that one more time from when you just made?
Yeah.
It's my fault, everyone. I forgot to switch cameras.
Ha 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 ha.
Looks great.
Yeah. Isn't that adorable? And I really love these patterns, and they work so well on this wood. All right, so I have another leaf shape. This one is going to be, I'm going to say, could probably get away with a 3.75 by 4.75. So if I take this down, I'm just going to do it here because I am making it smaller. So I'm just going to take this down to 4.75. And so this is going to be a little big. I'm not worried about my press or anything with this, so I'm going to be good. I'm going to hit print and then use that same pattern on a different one of these. All right.
Lori has wood pumpkins that are that size and thickness, and now she knows what she's going to do with them.
They're really perfect. And doing the patterns and doing various patterns really works to give you a nice variety. All right. All right. Okay. Drop that down, flip that over. Yeah, so with the wood, if you ever get these pieces that are the thicker wood, they work so beautifully for this. And this is I think it called it a 1/2 inch. Okay. We're going to do 2 more leaves, 1 more of this size, and then we'll do one that's a little smaller, and then we will get to decorating. right, perfect. Sometimes when it starts to stick like that, if you reverse direction, it will keep it from sticking, which is really, really nice. Okay. Any questions, comments, Rhodes?
Nope, we're caught up.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that background. Change this size. Start designing, then go right back into those cool patterns. Now with this, we didn't move the autumn up, so I'm having to go down to seasons. I'm trying to go down to seasons. Let's go with this brown leaf one. I think it's going to look cute. Make that a little bit bigger. And hit print. Okay. Okay. We're going to let that one print, and then we do have one more that is smaller, so I'll go ahead and measure that while I'm waiting. We're going to go about 2.5 by 4.5 just to be safe. All right, we'll check this really quick. I did set my default printer, so that's correct. We're going to make sure and change that to uncoated wood. And we are set. Now, I probably, like we said, could just come up with a default size, print 2 on a page, and be able to easily do them in the correct time. I'm just trying to make this a little unique. All right. All right. Okay, drop that down, flip that over.
Miriam said she liked the background on that one.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. You know, and I don't spend a lot of time in the backgrounds that we have in there. So it's kind of fun when you get to play with those and see something a little different. And yes, I should be wearing gloves on both hands. I know. All right. Okay. All right, perfect. Check that out. You'll get to see them all in a little bit. And I'm going to make sure, I promise, we will finish this and get it over to Brett so that he can put it online for everyone to see it on our social. All right, one more. Gonna go ahead and delete that background and change the size. I did say 2.5 by 4, correct? Two and a quarter by 4.25. Should have asked someone to remember that. All right, one more pattern. These patterns are so great. You know that also you can upload an image of your own and use that as your pattern. So really good if you have things that you create to turn that into a pattern. It's really fun. All right. I've done the darker plaid. I haven't done the lighter plaid. I think I'm going to go with, actually like this yellow pumpkin-y. I haven't done that one yet. All right, let's go ahead and print that out. And then we'll start our assembly. Go ahead and throw those underneath because we won't need the rest of them today. All right. And I am in a higher traffic area than normal, so you're hearing some doors, so apologies there. I'm not in my cozy little nook by myself. We do share the space a little bit more. All right, this last one is opening. It's going to take a second because it's the last one. All right, there we go. Okay. We'll go ahead and do that on the uncoated wood and hit print. All right, so hopefully you've seen some unique techniques today and some ways to kind of, combine patterns that we have available in the software. Again, you may get patterns from other places, so they're really fun to use, and especially in something like this. All right. Okay. All right, let's put this down. Flip that one over. Okay. While that is pressing, I'm going to go ahead and close my computer. Give myself some extra space. That didn't hurt anything, did it? All right. You're good? Perfect. All right. All right, Rhodes, zoom in. Check it out. Does not look great? All right. So Rhodes, let me know when time is up, but we're going to start decorating. We have about 10 minutes, right?
It's 3:52, so.
3:52, yep.
Yep, we're good.
All right. Okay, so for my wreath, I have my ribbon that we'll assemble. I have all of my wood leaves. I do have my various leaves and everything that I can stick in. I have some metal cutters in case I need to cut anything off. And then let's grab my glue gun. All right. So I think I'm going to start with some of the flowers just to kind of fill in some space. Got a little greenery too. Now you can go in and do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to stick them in. I can reinforce this with some hot glue. Some of these leaf pieces too. You can also use some floral wire just to hold everything in place. What I'm probably going to do is mostly stick in right now, and then I'll go in and kind of glue down afterwards just to kind of speed things up. But all of these with the browns and everything, Brett, if you haven't got to meet Brett, was telling me earlier to make sure I was kind of filling into the middle to give it a little more depth. Blue grasses too. I think let's do some more of those on this side. Okay. All right. I know I want to do my pumpkin and leaves. I'll stick one here. We're going to stick one over here. Perfect. All right. Make sure and get all these in here. And like I said, I'm going to go in and reinforce all of this with some hot glue a little bit later on. I'm going to put this right below where the ribbon's going to be.
You have your keys, that's your car.
How is that my car? All right, hold on everyone. Sorry for the inconvenience. I am leaning on my keys, I am assuming. So Rhodes will stop the noise.
I don't think they can even hear it. They can barely hear my voice over.
Okay, good. All right, well, just so you know, my car was being noisy. Okay. And I want to make sure that I have plenty of room for these leaves too, so I don't want to stick in too much. I do not like that placement at all. There we go. Probably play with that one a little bit later on, but you can kind of get my drift. And then we can start attaching our leaves. Well, if my glue gun works. There we go. All right. Start sticking these on. And do them quickly so they don't not glue on. There we go. And yes, I did just stick my hand in the hot glue. if you didn't see me jump. I did stick my hand in the hot glue, so that's going to be a fun blister tomorrow.
Do you want one of our 5 eaglets?
You know, that would probably be smart with all of the gloves that we have over here that I actually used one while using hot glue, huh? It's actually one of the podcast questions this week. One of our fun questions is worst glue gun burn that you've ever gotten. And I actually did get hot glue on the bottom of my foot. Still not 100% certain how I managed that one, but definitely caused some damage. Okay. It's funny, I can go an entire session without sticking my hand in the VersiFlex ink, but I cannot go 5 minutes without sticking it in the hot glue. All right. This is looking really, really good. I'm going to throw another one in here, and then we're going to talk about this ribbon. All right. Now I'm going to be all careful because I've burnt myself. Okay, cool. And then I would probably just rearrange some things. I think I can definitely put one here. We'll leave him out for now. Any questions or comments, Rhodes?
No, just people laughing at you.
If you've ever met me in person, you know that I am rather clumsy, so even attempting this is a big deal. But yeah. All right.
Miriam did say that her fingerprint just changed from being burned by the glue gun.
Yeah.
She couldn't log into her work anymore.
Okay, so I don't feel quite so bad. All right, so I'm going to take my ribbon and fold it over. You can see I'm just folding it into pieces. I've got the one longer piece for the tail. We'll leave him for last. Just going to fold these up. All right. Okay. I actually probably could get away right there without adding the other one in. Actually, I know what I'll do with this one. Yay me. Okay. I'm just going to fold this nicely, put this behind. Okay. Put this here. And then I just took my twist tie. I'm going to use that to tie this together. Can you? Just going to twist tie that nicely. I've squished it a little bit, so I'll unsquish it and make it pretty. But I'm going to show you what that looks like. I will unsquish my bow, get that all nice and stretched out. So it looks like this. I'm going to take this piece, put it over the middle, and then I'm just going to attach that to the top. So I'm going to show you what that's going to look like, and then I'm going to make my ribbon a little prettier. But I'm going to put that here, and there you go. There is my fall wreath. All right, so join us tomorrow morning. We will be doing some additional fall decor. I will probably have a Band-Aid on my thumb, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.